Welcome back to Sanford Goes Places, and today is D-Day, and everybody's favorite thing. We're going to set up some gears in this JK rear end. I got my fire going, and yeah, hopefully this goes well. Gears they're not the mystery everybody thinks they are, but they're definitely a pain in the butt, and it's probably my least favorite thing to do with wheeling. But you got to do it if you're going to do this stuff. It's kind of part of what you got to do. Once you go bigger tires and everything, you got to learn to do it, and that's a good thing. If you can learn it and learn how to set up your gears, you'll save a ton of money. People are charging $600 to $1,000 an end to put gears in, and once you learn it, it's not that big of a science. So again, I don't know that I'm really going to go into too much detail on this build because I'm kind of chasing a deadline, and but I'll just kind of blow through the basics of it, and we'll just kind of, I'll give you a quick little tour of it. But yeah, hopefully these will just knock out pretty quick and simple. The newer stuff is kind of nice. The old stuff we used to set up, trying to get them, the difference in machining processes and the housings and carriers and gears and everything. I mean, everything was off by, once you get a housing that's a little different than something, and then the gears that are a little different than that, and then a carrier. I mean, you can get up 10, 12 thousandths off on different stuff, and it was just a matter of pulling bearings off and on and everything. But now with the processes they use, everything's CNC and stuff, everything's pretty close. So I'm hoping to get lucky and we'll bang this out and I can get this thing back under the Jeep. So yeah, let's give her a try. So I've already gutted the housing and everything, as you've seen. I got to pull out this seal, pull the bearings and beat the races out of the housing. So I'll get all that stripped out. We're going to hose it all down with brake clean and stuff. Just get it all cleaned up super nice. I got to there's a little plunger thing on these Rubicons that I got to put that back in, seal the threads on that. And then that'll be done. And this will be ready. And then I've got up here, I had to clean my table off finally. So here's the factory E-locker and stuff. We got to pull the carrier bearings off and everything. Clean all this up, and yeah, we're gonna toss in some 538's. So let's dive into it. I think I'm gonna start by just getting this thing gutted out and cleaned up, and then it's ready when we're ready. So here we go. Alrighty, well, I got all this hosed out. I sprayed it out with brake clean, and probably shouldn't have done it right by my fire, but we don't need any hair. But anyway, so I just blow out all the threaded holes and everything. Make sure all the seats where your bearings and your caps and everything is just spotless and clean. You get a little piece under there, things get crooked, it'll throw your numbers off. But yeah, just being super clean, that's just one of the big key ingredients on this. So probably before I even put this in, I'll go through, wipe it all out again, just make sure there's nothing in there. So but yeah, now that that's done, I will clean up all this junk on the table here, and then we'll start pulling it apart. Alrighty, I got everything pretty well cleaned up. So you got to make sure, keep your passenger side stuff in a pile, keep your driver's side stuff in a pile. There's our pinion. The only thing I'm after in this is the shim between the head of the pinion and that bearing, and that's our starting point. And again, with this newer stuff, sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it might take 1,000 or 2 to get your depth right, but it seems like anymore now that these are a lot closer than they used to be. So and then when we get over here to pull this bearing off, this is the E-locker actuator here, and be very careful. This is plastic, and you cannot get the ring gear off without pulling this off first. And this, in some cases, has no room to get your little clamshell puller under there, and sometimes you luck out and you can get it, sometimes you can't. But this one, it looks like I'm going to be able to get it, so we're lucky there. But if you're going to do any gears, and I think I've said this before in one of my other videos, just buy one of these clamshell pullers. Don't the old, two-threaded rod, clamshell or whatever they call it. Those things, you just destroy bearings. It's a pain in the butt. These things here, this piece will go down over the bearing, slip your collar on. This piece ends up kind of going inside, pulls it out. You just do it all with a rattle gun, and I mean, it makes it way too easy. I still hate doing it, but this made it better. So, but you can get these. I know Yukon, all kinds of places sell them. This is one off of Amazon. I think it was like 180 bucks. And if you ever do one gear set, you're probably going to do more. And by the time you trash a couple of bearings order, you've paid for this. So just, if it's something you think you're going to get into, just get one. You'll thank me later. So, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these bearings off and stuff so we can get all this apart and start putting the new stuff on. Alrighty, so I got all the bearings off. The actuator and everything came right off and stuff. The pinion bearing, that one was it was on there pretty good. And when I use this tool, I always put anti-seize on these threads because you can get some pretty good torque on it. My gun was rattling pretty hard to get this bearing off of the pinion, but we needed the shim that was in between the pinion and the bearing. That's this guy right here. And that's going to be our starting point and hopefully our finishing point. Sometimes you luck out, but sometimes you don't. So, but anyway, we just needed that. All these old bearings. Another thing that you can do is hone these out and get them to where they're pretty much a slip fit. And when you're doing this, you can slip fit everything together and get everything pretty close. And then you can press them on, and yeah, it just makes setup a lot easier. So when you're doing these, if you buy a full master kit, hone out your old bearings and use them. And by using this tool, the way that pulls them, it pulls them with the race and everything on, so you don't distort the actual cage or any of that. It pulls it off in an assembly, and it's just about impossible to destroy a bearing with this puller. So, but anything is possible, but I have yet to have destroyed any of these, and yeah, I could probably essentially use all this stuff. So anyway, yeah, so now I just got to pull the ring gear off, and I'll undo everything, leave these two. Yeah, like leave 2 bolts or whatever, just so it doesn't fall down and smash on anything. And you might have to just tap the edge and knock the ring gear off. But then all this stuff is apart, and we'll clean all this up really nice and start putting together. And there you have it. The ring gear is off, and now I'm just going to clean up the carrier real good. Then we'll pull out our new parts and start putting stuff in. Alrighty, we got her all cleaned up, and then I like to take like a stone and just make sure there's no high spots on any of this or your ring and pinion. Just because they're new and expensive doesn't mean that they don't, sometimes when they drill and tap these, there'll be little risers around these, and you just want everything to sit flat. If you get a couple of risers here, the ring gear will sit crooked. It'll make it feel like the gears are warped or whatever, but just a quick little preventative thing. Go over that with a stone, smooth it out nice. But yeah, these are the Revolution gear, Dana 44 JK 538's. So yeah, this will be a heck of an improvement, especially with 40s. And it's pretty crazy how beefy these JKs are. I mean, this pinion shank I think is bigger than Dana 60 stuff. It's actually, they've definitely upped the ante on the new Dana 44 stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and kind of face both of these, make sure they're nice and flat, and we'll start putting it together. So I don't get too crazy with it, but you can see obviously there's little risers around these holes and everything, but it's got a consistent ring around here, ring around there, these little bit of high spots there. It should be pretty well good to go. I mean, it's good. I'm not going to remachine the whole thing, so but that just kind of gets some of those out, ensures the most flattest, nicest pattern you'll probably be able to get. And at this point, yeah, I'm going to blow all this off, clean all these holes, brake clean everything, and all these holes where your threads are going to go, because the oils and everything, when they ship these and stuff, they get in there, and your red Loctite is not going to stick to that very well, and you might lose some bolts. So spray these, spray your bolts. Yeah, just again, clean, blow everything out, and yeah, it'll make for a better job. So here we go. So I usually will use a couple of bolts just to align the ring gear. You don't want to use these to suck it down. I mean, if it gets crooked or whatever, you can get little burrs that are going to get under here and stuff. So I'll just run a couple in there and use them to align it, and then just use your rubber mallet or dead blow or something and just tap it down on there. Just work it around, make sure it goes on evenly, and get it seated. Then you can rattle these down. So now I can pull all these out. I'll red Loctite them and start rattling them down and torque them down. I think it's 80 foot-pounds. I'll have to look. But yeah, get them torqued down, and then that will be done. Alrighty, so it is 80 foot-pounds on these for the rear end. And yeah, that's my old school torque wrench. There's no bleep bleep in my shop. It's old stuff, and it works. I've never had anything come apart. So anyway, these are my new carrier bearings. I got to get those pressed on. I drug out my little press, and we'll smush these bearings on. And yeah, this thing's kind of going all right so far. Well, we got all the races pushed on there. The pinion's ready. I got my first shim in there just to see where we're at. I went ahead, got the races put in the housing. So now we're going to drop the pinion in. We're going to use the old nut. I'm not putting the crush sleeve or anything. We're just going to set somewhat of a pretty close bearing preload. So we got our pinion depth hopefully figured out. And then we can put the carrier in and get our backlash and run a pattern and just see where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead, throw the pinion in here and tighten her down, and then we'll toss the carrier in. Alrighty, the pinion's in, and I just kind of torqued it down to where it's got a little bit of drag on it, pretty close to what it should be. I'm not gauging it right now. We're just going to see where our depth is. I'm going to throw the carrier in, make sure that it's fits in here nice and snug, and we'll get the bearing preload set on that. And then we'll check our backlash and see if we got to go in or out or where we're at on there. And depending on that and our pattern, we either nail it or we don't. So hopefully we nail it, and I don't expect to, so it's like, but I'm gonna go ahead, we're gonna go and toss this thing in and see where we're at. So far I am liking this. So the bearing preload on the carrier felt good. I'm at like I think I'm right at 6 on my backlash. I can't hardly do it. I got to hold the pinion yet, but it's right there. It's 6 to 10 is what they usually call for backlash, and I actually don't mind on a wheeler to have it set up a little bit tight, so you don't get that slop. Because a lot of times you get, you're spinning, and and it's like if something grabs and you got more slop in there, that's more of a ting onto it that you can chip a tooth or anything. So I'm going to call it good right where I'm at here. Now I'm going to run a pattern on this, and I am just praying that this is just slam bam, thank you ma'am, and we're done. It feels good. It feels nice and smooth and everything. So I'm going to mix up a little marking compound, put it on here, and see what we get. So I like to run these with an impact gun or something and just get them spinning, and you want to run your hand on it and get some drag on it. And so yeah, I was going to do that. I, for the life of me, cannot find a 1/2 inch, 1 5/16 impact socket, and I have a big one, but it's a 1-inch driver, and I didn't have a reducer, so I welded a socket to my extension and made my own driver. So we have the technology, and we're this far in, they're not going to let that stop us from finishing this. So I'm going to put the gun on it and run it and see what she does. So we're pretty close, but it could be improved on a little bit. I think I'm going to pull a little bit of shim out of the pinion, which will essentially bring it further out, center this up a little bit more, and maybe a hair of backlash. I'll set it up and see where it runs with just the pinion, and if it needs it, then we might just need to put a shim on this side and open up the backlash just a little bit, and hopefully we'll get her a little more centered up. So we're definitely closer than a lot of these that I've done. So yeah, we'll go ahead and pop her back apart. That's the only thing about doing gears, just remove and replace, and I don't know, but this one, it's definitely going a lot nicer. So we'll go ahead and blow it back apart and do what we need to. So I went ahead, I pulled this shim out of here, and this measures about 45 thousandths. So I got to dig through these shims, and I'm going to try and get about a 43, 42-ish or something and see where that puts us. So yeah, we'll pile up these shims and put her back together and do her again. So when you're doing these, like the kit came with enough to either go 5 over or 5 under, which would probably still be ballpark, but I kind of wanted to just fine tune it a little more than that. But I keep a lot of shims from other stuff. Yeah, I should probably be a little more organized, but I was able to dig through. I'm at about 42 right now. I'm going to try that, and hopefully that just centers us right where we need to be. If not, we pull it back apart, we do it again. But again, this Jeep will get driven on the road, and it's like I want a good solid pattern, so it does the best for them. So We got the shims we need now, and I just got to press this back together, throw it back in, do the same process, and see where we're at. So I'm pretty happy with this. It's centered up really nice. I think I can go a little deeper in the tooth though, so I think I'm going to increase my backlash. I decreased it a little bit, and yeah, I think a little more would get that tooth a little further down in there. So, but yeah, and that's just, I just got to pull the carrier out. I'm happy where my pattern's at, but yeah, it definitely could go deeper in there. So we'll kind of split the difference. I mean, I don't want to run it too tight and get too much heat out of it, but also I do want to get a little bit more in the tooth contact and get the main wear area in the center. But I mean, it's not too bad, but it could definitely maybe go down just a tiny bit more. So I'll just put like 0.02 in there and just see where it's at. I think I'm at like an 8 on my backlash, and it's 6 to 10. So I might just go back to my 6 and see where we're at. Well, I am going to probably call this good. We got a pretty decent pattern there. I'm a little bit on the drive side on the toe end of it, but I shimmed it, or I pulled shims out of it, and it actually made it worse. But I'm going to say I'm pretty well centered. I think it's definitely a runnable pattern. I got a 6 backlash, and it's pretty much right where it's going to be. So yeah, now I got to put in my seals, my crush sleeve, all that stuff, and yeah, I got to pull it all back apart, put this little plunger in there. But yeah, but now I'm finally happy with this. I did pull it apart several times. I didn't film it, just trying to get it right in there, and this just seems to be the happy middle spot. So we're calling it good. Alrighty, so I went ahead, got everything pulled back apart. Carrier's sitting here. I got the pinion in. It's all torqued down and stuff. So now I got to put, there's a little plunger that goes in here. It's this little guy, and this is Rubicon specific, but this screws in through the housing, and this piece right here extends in and out, and you've got to shim that out when you put the carrier in, so it'll hook on this little ring and make the locker actually work. So I saw a pretty cool little trick. I've never seen it done this way, but this is a piece of my wire from my welder. That's a scrap little piece of firewood from by my fireplace. But you just put that little, make that little wedge and put it in this plunger and hold that out. And then once you get everything in, you just use this wire and you just yank that out of there. This will snap into place and everybody's happy. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing. It goes in this hole right here, and I'll throw it in there. We'll put our piece of wood in there and then toss the carrier in this thing. So this is what I'm talking about. You want to hold that plunger out with this piece of wood. I put it on the back side because this is going to hook on this side, and then once everything's in, I pull the little wire out. That snaps into place and locks into the ring here. So yeah, I think now I can put the carrier in. Alrighty, we're all back together. I'm gonna spray down some brake clean on it where I handled all this, got all the grease and everything on it, and we're gonna rattle can her up nice and pretty black. So I dug out an old crappy cover I can put on here so I can keep the junk out of there and not dirty up his, he's got a really nice, I think, G2 cover or something. So but yeah, we'll hose this thing down real quick. Alrighty, so it's all painted up now, and we're pretty much ready to go back together. So I'll get all the brake stuff and everything cleaned up and everything, and we just got to put the new chromoly shafts in it, put the brakes back together, and then we can dump it back in here. So yeah, we're just about done with the back half. Alrighty, so that was another good project here. We're buttoning this up. Yeah, gears aren't bad. They're kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but just don't overthink it. And yeah, and it's I don't know, they're tedious, I guess. But if you got the right tools and everything, it's not too bad of a project. But again, if you're going to do this, buy the bearing pullers, buy the proper stuff, because you'll do yourself a favor, because it is very pain in the butt if you don't have it. So anyway, we'll get this thing slammed back together. We'll get it shoved in there. But that's another video. I'm calling it a day. And yeah, we'll have more later, so stay tuned.